Hi guys, welcome to Thursday, April 16th. Can't really see my face. I guess I'm a little, camera's being weird. There we go. So we are going to start these instructor videos. I have no idea why my camera's being silly. I'm guessing it's the lighting. My face is going to go in and out. Anyway, so if you haven't already, finish the Hercules movie and finish up the notes and turn them in. So this is the last part of that movie right here in this video link. And then come back to these instructor videos, which we are going to be introing Unit 3, The Lover's Journey. Again, with this camera. There. Anyway, so let's get into daily vocabulary. This is the second bout of notes, or vocabulary rather, since you just took your vocabulary quiz. So add this to the same note page. That will be turned in, your collective vocab notes will be turned in on the last day of the trimester with everything else. So keep them all in the same document, and then you can use those documents on the quiz. You can use those documents on the quiz. Anyway, so let's get into fury. The vocabulary word fury, the definition means extreme anger, often seeking revenge, but mostly just an extreme anger. And it comes from the word of these deities from Tartarus, which is a certain section of the underworld. And they are sent up to punish criminals in the mortal world, if you will. And they're usually three women creatures-esque. If you've ever seen Percy Jackson or read the books, the Furies are mentioned. And yeah, usually there are three, they come in threes, and they're usually female. So that is the definition and the origin of the word fury. So let's get into the Unit 3, The Lover's Journey. So I made this nice PowerPoint for us just to get a idea of what the Lover's Journey is. Alright, so the Lover's Journey, Unit 3. So there's different parts just like there is in the Hero's Journey. And you'll recognize some of them, but they're the titles, like the different parts, I think there's 12 parts. Sometimes they'll have the same name, like this one, The Call to Adventure, but it's also / the meeting. So the meeting of the lovers. So yeah, here's where the lovers meet, where their seeds of their relationship are sown. There's both attraction and conflict, the groundwork for the potential to reach an HEA, also known as happily ever after, along with enough conflict to last the length of a novel is set, or a length of a movie. Or a myth, regardless, a piece of literature. So the second part is refusal of the call, just like refusal of the adventure, or rejection of the relationship. The main characters, one or both of them, are denying their attraction to each other, or there's some external reason in their way so that this cannot possibly work out. So consider Romeo and Juliet. Their families are warring families. This couldn't possibly work out. Why start this relationship? Here, the relationship is still very much at odds. We learn the reasons why their relationship won't work, and the external plot reasons why they cannot be together. But also, there are hints that they can't quite stop thinking about each other, and something big is going to happen between them. It's usually a situation of they doth protest too much. So that's a line from Shakespeare, and I'm pretty sure actually from Romeo and Juliet. Or, yeah, definitely Shakespeare though. So 3, acceptance of the quest, or giving the relationship a chance. It's kind of the first threshold, or the beginning of the second act, if you will, where for some reason, despite their attempts to stay apart, they're forced to work together, often towards a common goal, sometimes as a reluctant agreement to date. There's often some challenge that cannot be overcome without the other. They must accept some sort of relationship is developing, though they are still adamant, happily ever after is not in the cards for them at all. There's still conflict and resistance to permanence and no mentions of love, but they must face the truth in order to continue their journey. So they will need to work together. So trials and temptations / 3 dates. This is where the relationship is actually starting to form. There's usually a first date that happens here and other challenges. So I've heard Liz Pelletier of Entangled say there's usually 3 dates in this section. If there are dates, which not every romance has per se, but the lovers are together for a period of time, interacting in a get-to-know-you scenario, demonstrating relationship chemistry in at least 3 major scenes. Each scene both deepens their affinity but also reaffirms the reason they cannot be together. It's a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back sort of pattern. So while it doesn't have to be dates per se, it's interactions that they're having that usually to go towards that common goal that they have, that they're forced to be work together to defeat a similar villain or whatnot. But they're getting to know each other at that deeper level, but they're still sort of denying that, or they still are seeing that there's still conflicts in their way. Number 5, midpoint crisis, the I need you, but I can't have you moment, if you will. So in many romances, this is where some major form of physical intimacy takes place, a first kiss, a first lovemaking, a first uninhibited admittance of, I really like having you in my life. There's an intense moment of believing or seeing a glimpse of how meaningful this relationship could become, but it's quickly dashed to pieces, often by one or the other getting scared by the growing intimacy and some external plot force tearing them apart. So either one's like, oh my gosh, we can't do this, this is getting too real too fast, and it still won't work, I can't believe we just did this, sort of thing. Or someone comes in like, oh, the parents walk in on them and they're like, oh no, what are you doing? You can't be doing this. The road back, pulling back together. So something most likely in the external plot forces them back together for some reason. They're forced to work together and the attraction is stronger than ever. The relationship development that has begun in the first half now deepens. Often their deepest fears are confessed. They're left vulnerable and open to each other and real intimacy builds. 7, the fall. They're falling for each other. It's really serious now. There's usually another big moment of physical intimacy here, often lovemaking in a way that is meaningful. In romance where the couple has been engaging in casual sex, usually the love scene here is truly making love for the first time. They will separately admit they have fallen for each other, though not necessarily acknowledging it to each other. Sometimes one will declare themselves, but the other doesn't reciprocate or tell them back, for some reason related to their internal flaw or wound. And oftentimes this also, both sides aren't admitting it to each other, they're like admitting it to their friends or to themselves that, oh wow, I've fallen in love with this person. So a dark moment or the breakup, they're done, they're over, the relationship is never going to happen, their lives are in crisis, they try to go back to their ordinary world, so before they ever met, and they fail dismally. So they completely fail at going back to their ordinary lives. They're irrevocably changed by the other person, they're lost and miserable in their loneliness. So 9, there's a sacrifice moment. There is a decision made by one or both of the lovers. They're clinging to the fear of the wound, flaw is overcome. There is a letting go or sacrificing of the misbelief they've been carrying around this whole time and giving up on the external plot reason for them not being together. The realization that whatever fear was stopping them is insignificant to their love for the other person. So one of the main characters is sacrificing either the idea or the fear that of why their relationship can't work, or they might actually make a real sacrifice, like sacrificing something personal in their life, which we'll see actually in the movie we will be watching for this unit. Declaration. So step 10, there's a declaration of love, a communion of the relationship. This is where the magic of the happily ever after comes to completion. It's usually at first met with some trepidation, which means some unsureness. This is their first big leap of faith and giving of their hearts to each other. The trust circle between them is complete. Denouement, or the happily ever afters, part 11. The romance reader has to have their development, or denouement rather. They want a glimpse of the lovers in their new happily ever world to make sure that everything is going okay. There's usually a scene including friends and family gaining an acknowledgement of their new relationship from important people in their lives. There's a renewed promise of forever. So usually that's the scene at the end of a movie or the end of a book where it's kind of like a flash forward a couple months or whatever, or epilogue, if you will, where they're happily ever after and they're getting married or they're moving in together and everybody is happy for them and everything is working out at the end. So that is the last part. Excuse me. Allergies. I'm so sorry. So that is the last part of the lover's journey right there. And I'm going to cut to the second part because I'm going to read you a mentor text example. And then I will give you tomorrow a list of the different choices, text choices that you guys can have for this unit. So I'm going to stop the video here, go on to the second one where I'm going to read the mentor text example, and then we'll be done for today. All right, stay tuned.